Well, the people I have. I thought Amy was on here.
Amy is Orange County. Green, I think. No, Sally's orange also.
I'm here.
That is my bad.
Oh, I have a few more people in the waiting room. Well, yeah, we can't put it up on the screen in here. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry, we're a little behind. We've been having AV issues. Uh-oh, really? I say that. Just a second, I'm gonna remute myself. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
I can hear you.
I was
Yes.
just trying to track down the echo, make sure it wasn't feedback. I'm sorry, we're running a little late. We've had significantly less AV challenges, but AV challenges with these with this meeting today. Let's get this started.
All right. Donald Andrews, Chair of the RTAC. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thank you for those who are joining us via Zoom and the ones who are in the room. Do you have a copy of the ethics reminder?
I think so. I can read that out loud. Ethics reminder: in accordance with the State of Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every TARPO board member to avoid conflicts of interest. Does any member have a known conflict of interest with respect to any matters coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any participation in the particular matter involved. All right. I want to share my screen, so just a sec. And there's that. Okay. We have two decision items today. We're going to look at doing a bylaw update, and we're going to do the Second Avenue project, Siler City. They would like us to adopt the project plan. We have a few discussion items: the FY22 year-end finance update, CMAQ call for projects, a CTP status update, and STIP updates. You guys can all hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Cool. All right, so the first thing up is a public comment period. Does anybody have, do we have any members of the public now?
Not in person, but if you're anybody online,
Is,
identify themselves and
so is there anybody online who has public comment? If so, please unmute and state your name.
we ready. Do we decide whether Ms. Mathis is online?
Is Lisa Mathis online? I didn't see her.
So that's item number 4, Board of Transportation update. So we'll move on to item number 5, Transportation Planning Division update. Is Julie online?
Julie?
Yes, this is Julie. Good afternoon. So I don't have my newsletter ready yet, but I'll get it to Carol soon. And for CTP updates, I'll just let Carol cover that later in the agenda. Thanks.
Division 7 update, Stephen.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to come and talk to you guys. Aside from what is provided for Division 7 in the packet, I do not have anything to add at this time, but I'm here if there's any questions I can help answer on behalf of Division 7.
This is Amy Fowler. I had one question about, it said treatment, ST treatments that was supposed to start or could start in April of this year, and they don't have a start date listed. Do you have any information about that?
Let me pull it up real quick. I'm assuming you're referring to the one where it says AST treatment of 32 secondary routes in Orange County. Is that the correct one?
Yes.
Okay, if they have not entered a start date, then that typically means that they haven't started yet. But if it's all right, I'm going to request an update from the resident engineer in that construction office, and I can email you an update on when they plan or a tentative schedule.
Okay, very good. Thanks.
Any other questions about Division 7? Thanks, Stephen.
This is Brian from Division 8. Good afternoon. Kathy, Matt, and Jerron are also here from Division 8. And we are on page 9 with the orange banner. So the dates in red are the old draft STIP, but the revised draft STIP version is available as well. And Carol will be providing a STIP update a little bit later. If you have any questions, be glad to answer. Thank you.
Any questions for Brian? All righty. Are you Matt or is Matt with us?
I am the new Matt. I actually, I didn't do that. I did it for the TCC, but I didn't actually do it here. So I'll just take a brief moment. My name is Carol Fuller, and I am the new TARPO director. Matt has been promoted to the director of transportation, and he's my boss, but he isn't the TARPO director. I come from the western part of the state. I managed a RPO there for almost 10 years. It's the isothermal. It used to be isothermal. It is now Foothills RPO. So I have a general understanding of how RPOs work and that process, and I'm pretty actively involved, but obviously AV issues are still a stumping thing for me, as well as I'm not that familiar with this region. So I will be spending some time coming around and hopefully talking to each jurisdiction and having some conversations about what is your priorities and problem areas. I will also mention, because I know Catherine knows me from there, I, along with Matt and a couple other people, were the RPO people for the prioritization work group. I still am that for the RPO Association. We just voted in July, and P7 is starting in October. So I will have a deep background in the prioritization process. And Matt will still be helping us with that, just generally. So that's all I have. If you have any questions for me, but that's my background.
All right. Well, welcome to TARPO.
Thank you. I do plan to send out a newsletter with any changes, because obviously the mayor has let me know that I posted the wrong minutes. So when we get to that point, I have the correct minutes, but I will send out a full copy of the correct minutes in the newsletter after this meeting as well. So other changes, other highlights for us, obviously the changes to the STIP, which I'll be talking to the TAC about in a little bit, but basically there was a new draft STIP that came out, and there are new dates for a lot of things. I was asked, and I hope some of the TCC members are still on. I was asked from the Triangle J COG that they're interested in having a rural member on their Clean Cities Steering Committee, and I am going to stop sharing for a minute because I need to look at my notes for on the PowerPoint.
Could I ask a question? Sorry to interrupt.
That's fine.
I don't have the agenda, and I don't have the STIP documents. And I wonder if they could be emailed to me so I can follow along through the meeting.
I could do that. You can also go to the TARPO website, and towards the bottom of the page, it has the agenda packet.
Oh, okay.
All right, we'll just pause here for a second. Let me see if I can pull up the agenda packet.
I think I just put a link, if you click on it in the chat, that
Okay.
You can get to it.
Thank you. So coming back to the Clean Cities, the Triangle Clean Cities was founded in 1999 and was designated by the U.S. Department of Energy in 2001, joining 100 member Clean Cities coalitions. And the program has saved nearly 8 billion gallons of petroleum since its inception in 1993. So they're just looking, the COG does serve the diverse 7-county region, promoting collaboration between local governments and stakeholders and partners. And so there's a new program called Safe Streets and Roads for All. There's an application, or wait, no. And so they're just looking for a rural partner to talk about doing efficiency gains for transportation and other fuel saving technologies. They just want to, this has been more focused on cities, and they're just looking for the rural perspective. So they asked me to ask if anyone would like to volunteer to be on this steering committee. If you have an interest, please reach out to me after the meeting if you don't say anything now. Okay. I have another update on the NEVI plan, which is the North Carolina Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Deployment Plan, is out if you're interested, and I'll be happy. I'll send a link when I do the newsletter. That plan is says how the North Carolina is going to roll out federal funds to build electric vehicle infrastructure. The first phase is largely building it out along the interstate system, but the years 3 to 5, there will be funding for communities to apply for to get charging stations. And the next one is the Safe Streets and Roads for All, and that one is an application that's currently due September 15th. And what we're looking for here is the requirement is for that money that first you have to have a safety plan. And so Triangle J is putting together an application to do a regional safety plan, and wanted me to ask all of you if any of your towns or the counties would be interested in partnering with Triangle J on that application, or on that grant application, excuse me. And there will be funds to do a safety plan. And they would do a regional one, but there would be an implementation plan that was unique to each town. So if you have any interest or more questions about that, feel free. I'll be putting a note in the newsletter or contact me after the meeting, and I'll get you in touch with the group that's working on that. And they may have already reached out. I know she said Carthage had already committed to doing something. So if there's anybody else, please let me know. But those were the updates that I was asked to bring from TJ Cog.
They sent it to managers or to you all? I mean, are they sending it?
I know they sent it to us.
Okay.
We were talking about it on Monday when March will be back.
You know, they're in conversation, because DCHC is on an application.
I believe they're in conversations, but I don't believe it's a joint application. They're gonna go and capture the rest of outside of DCHC.
Okay.
That's my belief. I know like this much stuff.
Yeah, because Chatham County, the northeast corner is in DCHC and is joined that application, and so I don't know if that was from joining another application.
I'm happy to get you in touch with the person to do that, who's doing that, to have that question, but I don't know if she says in the note. And it does say they're preparing a multi-jurisdictional application on behalf of rural and/or small organizations, and they will develop an action plan. There is a 20% match if you get the grant. And so I assume that will be detailed. And TJ Cog would also be the lead, but it doesn't actually say exactly the area they're talking about. So I'll go back to my email and I'll forward the person's name. So that's Safe Streets and Roads for All. The last one, I did already mention that I was reappointed to the spot work group. We have a quarterly association meeting, and that was at the end of July, and I was reappointed to that. There was something else I wanted to say on this. Oh, and yeah, on this one, I know basically the name and eventually what's going to happen, but I have no idea of the full process. We were told at our quarterly meeting that the RPOs were going to have access to clean, what are we calling it? Clean transportation funds, basically. It's part of the IIJA, and it's, and I'm not quite sure how much money we're gonna have access to, but I can tell you the type of projects. The type of projects are similar to what I just mentioned about from the NEVI projects. Anything that improves air quality and or reduces vehicle miles. So it's electric charging station, it's electric transit buses, it's bike and ped. It is all of those types of things. There may actually be, like the MPOs, the RPOs may have, at least for the next 5 years, a little bit of money to actually make some of those projects happen. Again, I don't know the process of the program, but just as a high level FYI, we should know more in a couple of months, and I will put that out when I have more information. We have not received our allocation letters. The MPOs have. So if you have stood on those or you have conversations with the MPOs, they have received their allocations because the feds decided those allocations. The DOT has to decide how they want to split out the money for the rural areas. And like I said, it encompasses a lot. If you've ever dealt with congestion or CMAQ funds, it's mainly those types of things and a few additional. So more details to come.
This is something that's separate from CMAQ. Okay.
Yes. It is separate from CMAQ, but pretty much anything you can do for CMAQ, you can also do for this program and a few other things. Okay. All right, so we're on to RTC adjournment and report, I guess. Well, Jack was online. Let me see if he's still there. Jack?
Normally he gives a report and record whatever y'all discussed on our discussion items.
Tom was the vice chair.
Tom, are you still on here?
Yeah, I am. I'm seeing Jack attempt to yeah, he keeps muting and unmuting. Hold on one sec.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, now something happened with my microphone. It changed. My headset is my AirPods, but my microphone is on something else. But anyway, I got an update. Sorry about that. Yeah, looking for a motion to adjourn our RTCC meeting.
I'll go ahead and make that motion, Jack. Tom Tenike, Orange County.
I have a motion. I need a second.
Brian Kuchar.
All right, Brian. Got a motion second. Do I need a roll call vote, Carol?
No.
Very good.
Thank you very much, you guys, for living through this morning. I truly do appreciate it.
All right, so our report would be very simple. There were 2 decision items. We made positive recommendations to change our bylaws in regards to remote meetings following the August 15th deadline. And the other is to approve the 2nd Avenue project corridor study that was done in Siler City. Both of those were recommended by approval. So that's all I have from the RTCC.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Move to the RTAC agenda. Since we don't have the correct minutes, can we just
Let's just postpone that.
to our next meeting?
Yeah, we will postpone approving the minutes until the next meeting.
The first discussion item is item 11A, the bylaws update in the packet.
Yeah, as most of you are likely aware, on Friday, the state of emergency is set to expire. And once it expires, the cities and counties will no longer be able to count virtual members for quorum. or allow them to vote according to the school government. However, RPOs are not held to that same standard. We are not an elected body, we're an appointed body. So we can still hold virtual meetings, but it has been recommended that the RPOs explicitly allow virtual and hybrid meetings in their bylaws. So I am proposing, or staff is proposing, to add the below language, which is electronic meetings permitted, given that a physical location is provided where members, alternates, or the general public can participate. And to put this sentence as the last line under section 1, regular meetings.
Motion to approve the addition of that sentence at the end of the RTAC bylaws under section 1 of regular meetings.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Curtis Brown, second.
All right. Thank you.
Roll call, or
Does anybody disagree with approving this?
no?
If somebody disagrees, I'm going to have to do roll call, but if everybody's okay and nobody disagrees, then I will say it's unanimous and we can, of the people here, and move on. Is that okay?
Any opposition?
Okay.
Item 11B.
Okay. For 11B, the people on the Zoom meeting, please make sure we have sound. I will change the option that and make sure that it works. Where did we find that one? Under more. It was under more, right? There we go. Share sound. All right. I have to stop this share and let's see if we can't find the YouTube link again. Oh. Can you guys hear that? Yeah, can you guys hear the presentation? No?
I can't.
All right, let me back to Zoom. And now. Yay.
Study conducted by
now?
the Triangle Area Rural Planning Organization and the town of Siler
see
City.
it?
This study was funded by the North Carolina Department of Transportation and the town of Siler City. The study work was performed by the consulting firm of Stantec, and the project was managed by the Triangle Area RPO. This presentation will provide an overview of the overall process of the study, with a focus on the public engagement elements of the process, the current infrastructure and traffic conditions in the corridor, the recommended improvements to 2nd Avenue identified through the study, and potential next steps for the town and RPO to consider. The 2nd Avenue corridor study had a relatively short timeline for development. Work on the study began in March 2022 and was completed in June of 2022. The work was divided into 3 main phases, with each taking approximately 1 month. An investigative phase that focused on gathering background data and initial input from the community, a design phase that culminated in a 3-day on-site design workshop in Siler City, and a recommendation phase during which the recommended design was presented to the community and the study report was completed. One of the earliest actions in the study was the creation of a public survey and an interactive online mapping tool to gather input from Siler City residents and businesses. 85 people responded to the survey, and 48 comments were provided through the interactive map tool. 3 major public engagement events were conducted over the course of the study. The project symposium in April was intended to provide the community with information about the study and gather initial input on the community's priorities and concerns. In May, the consultant team led a 3-day design workshop. Each day, people could stop by and provide real-time feedback as the team worked on the recommended conceptual design for 2nd Avenue, and each evening there was a pin-up review of that day's work. A number of focus group meetings with various community groups were also held at this time. The final public engagement event was an open house held in June to present the draft recommended plan and gather additional community feedback. Based on the public engagement process, we heard 4 main themes. 1. 2nd Avenue is currently over-designed with too many lanes and too much speeding. 2. Crossing 2nd Avenue is difficult, especially on foot. 3. People do not feel safe walking or biking on 2nd Avenue. And 4. Although it travels through the downtown area, 2nd Avenue doesn't feel like it's a part of downtown Siler City. The graphic on the screen shows a number of facts about the corridor as it exists today, but 2 sets of numbers stand out in particular. Existing daily traffic counts on 2nd Avenue range between 5,000 and 8,000 vehicles, but the road is currently designed to accommodate 22,000 vehicles. And there are 11 intersections along this 3/4 mile section of 2nd Avenue, but not a single one of those intersections has crosswalks for pedestrians. These data points were very important in the development of plan recommendations. 5 guiding principles were defined by the project team to guide the creation of the plan recommendations. Right-sizing 2nd Avenue with maintainable infrastructure, giving priority to pedestrians and bicyclists, providing for the safety of all roadway users, integrating 2nd Avenue into downtown and its surroundings, and supporting surrounding uses through attractive design and human scale. The final plan recommends something called a road diet, which is when the number of lanes on a road is reduced and the leftover space is repurposed for other uses. In this case, the existing 4 to 5 lane cross sections shown at the top of the screen would be reduced to the 2 to 3 lane cross sections shown at the bottom. This would allow the addition of wider sidewalks, pocket medians, consistent left turn lanes, and on-street parking along 2nd Avenue. The study document includes a detailed corridor design layout, which can also be found in high definition on the project website. The graphic currently on the screen shows the northern half of the study area, with the study area's north terminus at Greensboro Avenue to the far left of the screen, and the intersection with 3rd Street to the far right. Highlights of the design in this section include construction of a roundabout at Greensboro Avenue, addition of sidewalks throughout the corridor, addition of crosswalks at the Greensboro Avenue roundabout, 3rd Street signal, Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard signal, and a new mid-block crossing with a median refuge near 7th Street, and addition of on-street parallel parking south of the intersection with Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Now, looking at the same graphic for the southern half of the corridor, we have 2nd Street to the far left of the screen, and Fayetteville Avenue, which is the south end of the study area, at the far right of the screen. In this area, recommendations include construction of a roundabout at Fayetteville Avenue, addition of sidewalks throughout the corridor, addition of crosswalks at the Fayetteville Avenue roundabout, Beaver Street signal, Raleigh Street signal, and 2nd Street signal, and addition of on-street parallel parking north of the Raleigh Street intersection. The study report also includes more detailed examples of what implementation might look like in various locations along 2nd Avenue, including photo renderings. The example on the screen right now shows the proposed mid-block crosswalk near 7th Street. The consultant team has developed preliminary cost estimates for the recommended improvements and has broken these into 4 independent project segments to allow for future phasing of funding and construction. The segments include the 2 roundabout projects, a segment from 3rd Street to Greensboro Avenue, from Raleigh Street to 3rd Street, and from Fayetteville Avenue to Raleigh Street. The total engineering design cost for the full corridor is estimated at about $700,000, and the total construction cost is estimated at about $7 million. An additional estimate was also developed for the cost of undergrounding existing overhead utilities in the corridor. To do this for the whole corridor would cost about $18 million, while only doing this in the downtown priority area between Raleigh and 3rd Streets would cost about $6 million. So what can we do now that the study is completed? TARPO staff recommends that the TARPO RTCC and RTAC take action to adopt the Second Avenue Corridor Plan. The plan was adopted by the town of Siler City on August 1st, 2022. Moving forward, we should consider ways to fund implementation of plan recommendations, whether through the NCDOT Strategic Transportation Investments Prioritization Process, other grant opportunities such as those in the federal bipartisan infrastructure law, or through local funding opportunities. If you have any questions about the Second Avenue Corridor Study, please reach out to the staff contacts indicated on the screen. You can find a copy of the study report and other study materials on the project website at tarpo.org/Second Avenue. That's tarpo.org/2ndave. Thank you for your time.
All right, so that was the Second Avenue presentation. And I didn't know if anybody had any comments or questions.
I move approval to adopt the study. Amy Fowler.
Well, I know what's going on. Sorry, everybody. It started playing the next presentation on YouTube. I'm going to turn it back over to Mayor Andrews. I'm sorry.
I think it was a second, but I'm not sure who that was.
This is Amy Fowler, and I moved approval to adopt the study.
Is there a second?
Curtis Brown, second.
All right. Now that, yeah.
You got both of those?
Yep.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, do you want to do a roll call or are you still good with unless there's opposition?
I probably need to do roll call for this one.
We'll go through the list.
I'll go through the list. All right. Mayor Andrews?
Yes.
Your alternate.
Everybody else is online.
Amy? Yes. Curtis Brown?
Yes.
And Mr. Voss or Mr. I have that on here.
I'm here, but I don't think I'm a voting member.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just a sec.
Sure.
Mr. Voss, you are an alternate. Mr. Brown has already voted. So is there anybody I haven't gotten?
That's my question. Do we have a board?
Yeah.
Anybody?
We have 1, 2. Three. We have 4. Is that a?
You are a member, right?
No, I'm not a member.
Lisa Mathis,
7. Yes, that is quorum. There's 7 jurisdictions. We've got 4, so we're fine. Yes, so it was unanimous. Thank you. Sorry for the confusion. I'm still getting used to things.
We're ready to move on to 11C.
We are. All right. Green. So the financial report is through the end of the year, TARPO has spent $153,377.20. Our remaining balance of available funds from DOT is 0, of course, because it's the end of the year. And we are carrying over $22,709.14 in local funds. And again, for those local funds are used for things that DOT, we're not allowed to pay for with DOT funds, including lunch. And it doesn't include the SPR funded Second Avenue study funding. That is separate. That invoice has not gone out, the final invoice, but that project is complete. And the bill or the invoicing from the consultant is complete. We just need to request the reimbursement from DOT. In the PowerPoint, there is a link to the financial summary. I believe I also put it in the board packet. If you have other questions, I'm happy to take them, but that's the general update.
Any questions about the financial year end? All right. CMAQ call for projects.
CMAQ call. We generally, our CMAQ call hasn't been officially announced yet, but this is the time of year we start putting together the request. So those projects must show an air quality benefit. Traditionally, TARPO has used it for transit and sidewalk projects. It's typically been around $200,000 is the allocation. And the eligible areas is not all of TARPO. It is the areas that are in Orange County and the northeast quadrant of Chatham County. And the RTAC will likely vote on the project submittal in December after we've solicited, or so after we've gotten projects in on this project.
So that information is coming out to those jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions about the CMAQ?
All right, so we're on to 11E, which is CTP status updates. We have 3 CTPs that have activity underway in our region. The Chatham County CTP was adopted back in 2016, or at least the maps were. However, at that time, the report was never completed due to staff turnover. And more recently, when they were trying to complete it, they found some errors in the adopted maps. Also, within the last month, last month it was noted that only Siler City would need to readopt the Chatham County plan, but DOT has let me know in the time since then that they plan to add the Triangle Innovation improvements to the CTP, so it'll need to be readopted by the county as well. And the Triangle Innovation is the VinFast site for anybody who may be confused about that. Did I hear a question?
Any questions about Chatham County?
Okay. On to Pittsboro. The Pittsboro CDP was adopted in 2013. Currently, NCDOT has done some additional model runs at their request, and we're in the process of reviewing those updates and discussing next steps. And Lee County, the background work is continuing. This is the work I will need to be picking up from Matt to review several items, including or review the bike and ped and transit recommendations, and make get some work done on that. So we are looking to pull the Lee County Transportation Committee back together at the end of August. It's not actually in here, and getting a status update and then moving that project forward as well. But Matt was supposed to do some analysis on the bike and ped projects, and that didn't happen. So I will now need to take that over. Any questions on the other CTPs?
Anyone have any questions about the CTP status updates? STIP updates.
The STIP updates for the 2020 to 2029 STIP, the one we're currently operating under. Those are item N changes that I shared in your packet. There weren't any in June. There was 4 pages worth in July, so feel free to take a look at those. And if you have questions, I'm happy to take them or pass them along to my DOT colleagues here for more information. All right, for the STIP updates for the STIP that we're trying to finish, which is 2024 to 2033 STIP, so the next one. Matt told you that there was a new STIP that came out at the end of April and had a large number of changes. A lot of projects were removed because, as he explained then, there were cost overruns or cost estimates have gone over or gone up significantly. Obviously, COVID had some influence on lowering the gas tax for a while there, as well as the hurricanes. All of that has led to the STIP being what we called overprogrammed, and so to bring it back into financial compliance, many projects had to be removed. Since that time, the state legislature has decided to give DOT a portion of the sales tax. That sales tax is going to be phased in over the next 3 years. And construction side of the house isn't going to get any new money this year, but starting after that, following year, I think it's, I don't remember, it ramps up to being 4.5% is going to go into construction and 1.5% in maintenance. And so that meant additional funding that could be used for the STIP. So the STIP was updated again. I jokingly call it the draft STIP, but we have the draft August 8th now. And so I just wanted to give you guys an update of what that means. So you'll see that there are 5 projects that are still no longer funded, but that's significantly, or it's fewer than last time. There are 3 bike and ped projects and 2 highway projects, including the one that we discussed at our July TCC meeting that we had to talk about swaps, which was R5961. That one still did not make it back into the STIP. We still have these same 2 projects that are funded for PE only. That is preliminary engineering. They will have to recompete in P7. The other ones will also have to recompete in P7 as well. And then there are a couple that had schedule changes from April until August. These 2 projects had actually been delayed 2 years. And now they've come back and they're only going to be delayed a year. So this bike project on Johnson Street is coming back construction to FY23, and U5727 and U5975, the right-of-way and utilities are now only delayed a year to FY23, but there hasn't been any change to the construction. That still is FY26. So what are the big changes? These are the 5 projects here that have come back into the STIP because of the additional funding, which is the US 64 and C751 interchange in Chatham and Wake, which has a right-of-way date now of 2027 and a construction of 2029. RS 5891, which is US 15501 and Morganton interchange in Moore County, and there it's now has right-of-way 2027. And then R5892, which is NC5 improvements in Pinehurst, and it's right-of-way in 2028. And then 2 urban projects, Horner Boulevard improvements in Sanford, now with a right-of-way in 2027, and another US 15501 improvements from Pittsboro to Chapel Hill, and that now has right-of-way in 2027. And that last project is $117 million. So they're all over 23 million, but those are the projects that have made it back into the STIP. So what does that mean for potential swaps? I know there was an interest in R5961 in Pittsburgh to swap that back in, and that one is still out of the STIP. People, I'm updating the project swap process. It was originally supposed to be the end of September. DOT has pushed it back to the March of 2023. So if you want to discuss a possible swap, I need to know by November 15th. We'll discuss it at the December at the December meeting, and at the TAC meeting, we'll at least have a conversation, and then staff will coordinate with with DOT and the other POs as needed. And if we decide to move forward with any swaps, the final vote will be at the February 2023 at this time. Does people have questions or comments or anything my DOT folks want to add to that? I know there was an update to the updates for the Division 8, I believe. I will send out that one now shows the August 8th changes. So that's a little bit more clear, but that's what's going on. Upcoming NCDOT steps as part of this process. DOT is still going to conduct a public comment and outreach phase, and they're going to share any of the comments with us. And then the final STIP will be adopted in the summer of 2023. And we're sort of under the gun to adopt this STIP in 2023 because we have to have a new STIP every 4 years, and that 4 years is 2023. So we do need to actually complete the STIP and get it through the whole process so that the federal or FHWA can approve it and we can move on. So so any other comments? If not, I guess it's member comments, if anybody has any.
Any comments or any updates from around the region? All righty. And there's nothing else to come before the TARPO board this afternoon. We will adjourn. Our next meeting is Thursday, October 14th, 12 o'clock in the New Ag Center in Pittsburgh.
Again, everybody, thank you for working with my AV challenges. We will try and work this out for next time. I appreciate everybody's help. I also, Matt just forwarded to me Triangle Innovations for the Chatham County folks. They're going to have a public meeting. DOT is, I believe it's August 16th. So be on the lookout for that too. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.